Hello, welcome to Ray Recommends. My name is Raymond Atribus. I'm currently in Malmö in Sweden. I've just finished a poetry show, a spoken word show tonight. I'm here with Swedish poet and spoken word artist and hip hop artist and curator Oskar Hanska.
Sen fladdrar mina mjuka läppar i små intensiva blåsattacker över hennes nakna mage. Men jag har ett 2 dagars stålullstubb supersvint och jag ärvde från min farsa. Viss skit väljer man inte.
So poetry is happening in Sweden.
Yes, and no, I was about to say, I'm not really sure where I'm going with that, because it's mostly in my head, about always feeling like we're not going enough.
Where do you want it to go?
Well, I wanted to go to a place where I don't have to explain what I'm doing,
Right.
and I don't want to keep doing the basic arguments on why spoken word is amazing and saves lives and one of the most democratic art forms there are.
Längs exakt samma stiga där ett kinesiskt nyfött barn är mindre värt utan kuk och lämnas för att dö när det kallas biologi. Nej men vänta, nu överdriver du väl ändå lite. Det kan du hoppa upp och sätta det på den här Kina-pinnen att jag gör, kompis, men
I don't want to have to keep telling those arguments to organizers, to journalists, to teachers, and I just want it to be known.
I know what you mean. I feel like having to explain what I do a lot in the past, but I feel like now not so much. People generally, like in the UK, people generally seem to have a familiarity with some of the poets thanks to, you know, the high profile poets like Kate Tempest and Oi McNeish.
Yeah, Kate Tempest was in Sweden last year at this music festival, like this big music festival in my hometown called Way Out West. And after Way Out West, I've had like a bunch of people asking me, do you know Kate Tempest? And I'm like, yeah, of course I know Kate Tempest. And I'm like, yeah, we went to a show, it was the best thing on the whole festival. And it wasn't even on the festival area, it was on the nightclubs afterwards. So it's amazing what's happening. And I don't care where the knowledge comes from, if it's like a British poet or anyone else. Let's just let it rain, wherever it comes from.
And so there's no language barrier, so people in Sweden could listen to Kate Tempest and be like, well...
Yeah, definitely, we're excellent in British language.
We were talking earlier, in fact, about like younger poets, because, you know, we've both been performing and writing for like, you know, 10,
12 years.
10, 11, 12 years, yeah, around about the same time. And like, we were both noticing like similar things happening in England and in Sweden. It sounds like where you've got like younger poets that are coming through and you see a lot of them and it's like they're kind of doing the same thing.
A lot of repetitions going on. People are going through the same stages of exploring as I did and as many other poets have done before them. And they're like tricks and techniques and structures for a poem. And it keeps coming back, and you see a poet doing a pop culture reference and they're making a whole poem around it. And it could be a line from a popular song and I've heard other poets using that exact line doing the exact same thing. And the problem isn't here that people do this, the problem is that in 95% of these cases it's because there is no stored knowledge. There is too few videos, there is no library, Swedish library of spoken word where people can actually easily get access to what's been done and avoid and
the cliche.
Yeah, the cliche, and also like build up upon it and, you know, like wash it and come up with like something, a core that they can build something of their own on top of it. Also, there is a new wave of poets coming from outside of this, the Swedish slam spoken word establishment, coming from suburbs and marginalized areas, and they, well, I believe it's a mix of not sharing the history of the established spoken word scene and also not giving a shit about it, because they have their own influences and own reference, and you can hear it and you can watch it, and it's really refreshing to see. Even though some might use references that I don't like, you can see like some old school hip hop.
What do you think? Because there's even like, you know, a Swedish hip hop scene.
Yeah, definitely. It's strong, man.
There's, you know, like, so there's spoken word and poetry kind of, are they having a similar conversation?
No, Swedish hip hop is booming.
Fortfarande 14 piller om dagen. 2 för att jag ska kunna ta mig i kragen och hålla mig klarvaken. 2 för lite extra slag i saken. Och så 3 för att få upp det så du kan älska den rakt i baken. Och så 7 för att de första 7 ska kräkas ut att jag har i magen.
Yeah.
It had a couple of peaks.
Yeah.
Since like the 90s or something. Came, went. Now, man, it's like without doubt, the most popular music genre in Sweden. They're totally way ahead of the spoken word scene, and the most recent like new wave within the hip hop has been the battle scene. Hip hop has always been founded on recording, like producing tracks and stuff. So it's there. You can backtrack. You can go through digital archives, and there's always some like nerdy hip hop fan who's like saved everything in some obscure part of the internet, so you can find it and develop and listen, and and of course a lot sounds the same. It will always do, but there's another tradition of recording and saving and spreading your material.
Fortfarande frusen i småbåtshamnen.
There's always the poet that makes a viral video on a really hot topic right now, like a fling of the debate. They manage to pinpoint something in this small thing in a 3-minute poem video, and it goes viral, and everyone talks about it for a couple of days, but boom, it's gone. So it doesn't stay relevant. I mean, people are not used to listening to someone just babbling, saying stuff. Rappers, they do it with melody and with rhythm, makes it interesting, and they do it to music. A lot of poets, they just speak. And you don't want to put someone who just speaks into your ear every day. You watch it 1 time, 2 times, then you leave it. But if you put music to it, they can listen to the music, and so hopefully we will grow in a certain way. We just have to find ways of making it accessible to people. I've heard people saying stuff about my spoken word and other people's spoken word now. The same things they said about hip hop 25 years ago. Like, I can also speak in rhythm. I can always and I've had journalists coming up to me. Like I was performing with a band and dancers and everything. I came up to a journalist and he was already talking to some bandmates. And I'm like, this is Oskar, he's doing the spoken word. And he was like, yeah, right, yo, so you with the guy talking all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus.
Men vänta nu, jag har faktiskt aldrig sagt att hon är grym på sitt jobb för att hon är snygg. Jag sa faktiskt att hon blir snyggare av att hon är grym på sitt jobb.
Just walked out of it. I didn't have the energy. It was right after the show. I didn't have the energy to educate him on my art form.
So for people that come in and watching in England, they're coming to Sweden. They want to come and check out some Swedish poets, spoken word shows, some slams. Where do they start?
Well, they start by actually writing poets in Sweden, like me or the other ones you saw today, Nino. Olivia. And because there is no central organization in Sweden for poetry slam, we have a lot of local slams and stuff, but there is no central organizations where you can turn. So just find poets and ask them, and they will pass you on. Small, still in Sweden. But just contact us, talk to us, and we'll try to point you in the right direction.
No, I mean, I've been here for 3 days, done a few shows, the crowds are lovely, they're very attentive, they listen, man. It's something where I guess I'm, in London, you've got an audience which a lot of the time would be impress me. There are 1,000 opportunities for me this evening, and I've taken this one. so it better be worth it, you know. And that's not even to say it's a bad thing, because I feel like the standard of poetry in London and the UK has really risen a lot in the last few years.
Yeah.
There's more consistent, interesting, striking poetry.
Yeah, and I think it's a give and take cycle between the poets and the crowds.
Yeah.
You know, poets start rising level, more crowd will come.
Yeah.
Poets will feel like, oh shit, the crowd, they will call us out if we are bad.
Exactly.
So they will step up even more.
Yeah.
They will bring even more crowd. Like, and that goes for the individual poet and also the poetry as a scene.
Check out Oskar Hanska. Recommend.